thank you to all those who came, and for all the kids in the audience, I'm so sorry for all the summer nights are going to be wasted on SAT and ACT prep after this. So the SAT and ACT are basically a standardized test that each college will want to see, and the SAT and ACT vary on the preference of the test taker. Some people who are better off with the maths and science sections, they might find the ACT easier versus the SAT, which is more reading and writing based. So it just depends on your preference, and most colleges will accept either one. However, if you want to apply internationally, the SAT is going to be the preferred test. But in front of I know all you guys are busy, so all the Ivy Leagues, they don't care between which one you take. ACT or SAT is fine. Now, before I begin, I would like to deconstruct this by first looking at the ACT and the SAT itself. Then we'll talk about the SAT subject test, which is, it's actually more of an unknown section, but it's just as important as the ACT and SAT. So, going on to the ACT is a test that's taken out of 36 points. And if you get a 28 score on the ACT, for example, that puts you at the 90th percentile. However, for most of us, that isn't enough. We need to be in the 99th percentile. I need to score above a 34 to a 36. Now, the best way to prepare for the ACT, I'm sure all you guys already know, is to just practice. Practice makes perfect. And the more practice tests you do, the more well prepared you'll be for the test. And going further into that, just not practicing, it also depends on what courses you take. For example, there's this one section on the ACT known as the reading section. And it could be done even without taking any AP classes. But if you take AP English, for example, that course itself will prepare you to take the reading test, and you should be able to fly through it because it's very similar, and the AP class is a much more difficult version of the reading section. So just taking difficult courses in that manner will make the ACT easier for you. And also, you can look at some other concepts, such as taking other helpful programs like the chemistry or math Olympiads. Those tests, like as Sonu was talking about, the science Olympiad, the scientific stuff that you learn, all that's portion on the ACT is very watered down. By taking the more difficult stuff ahead of time, it will make the rest of the test a breeze. Now, also looking on to the SAT subject test. This is a much less known portion of the SAT, but a lot of colleges actually want this. And most of the big shot colleges like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, they all want 2 SAT subject tests. But what are they exactly? They're basically a more concise version of an AP exam. And the AP tests are weighted out of basically 5 points. A 1 and a 2 means you failed the test, and anything above that means you passed. But colleges want to know how successful were you really on that test. And that's what the subject tests are for. Say you get a 5 on the AP Chem exam, but if you take the chemistry subject test, it's very likely that you could have gotten just a 700 out of 800. And that will really hurt how you look to many of these colleges. So the best way to prepare for these tests is to first off buy the Princeton review books that they provide for these tests. But on top of that, take, in the instance of the chemistry SAT subject test, do the chemistry Olympiad practice exams. By doing those practice tests, it will set you very well to get a high score in the chemistry Olympiad, and it will make you stand out in front of all the applicants who are applying to these colleges. And by succeeding in the SAT and SAT subject test, and also taking the ACT and being able to get a score above a 34, you're basically set to go to any colleges. And if any of you guys have any individual questions, I can answer them now if you'd like. No?
Wait, how much time do you need for Ivy League schools?
Okay, Ivy League, great question. It actually varies on the Ivy League you're applying to. Like Harvard is one of the most coveted of all the Ivy Leagues, so their score, on average, you have to get a 35 on the ACT, which is a huge number because that puts you at the 99th percentile. Versus if you take to one of the lesser coveted ACT colleges like Cornell or Brown, they will accept a 33. And you want to be, you don't want to apply at the bare minimum. You want to be like set at least medium of the group that apply. Like Harvard will say they'll accept 31 ACT on the application, but you don't want to have just a bare 31. You'd have to do something extraordinary, like find the cure for cancer, if you want to get in with the 31. You're going to want to like stay at least on like the 60th percentile or above, and you can add in some extracurricular activities that'll help you stand out, and that's like the best way to secure yourself into a high college, college acceptance.
One more question here.
At what grade the kids are supposed to prepare?
Okay, that's a good question. I actually start preparing at 7th grade. Wait, my parents made me start preparing at 7th grade. It's at 7th grade. It's actually one of the. It's not that bad of a test. Like if you start preparing at 7th grade, you'll be able to even put yourself at the 90th percentile for such a young age. And that's amazing. And the test itself, you can take the test at any time you'd like. I took the test when I was a freshman, I was 9th grade, and then I took it again junior year. And the growth I saw between, like, it really boosted my self-esteem. And I would suggest many of the kids do the same because you're not as well prepared by the courses you take in school in 7th grade or 9th grade. But if you take it in junior year, or like the best time to take it is sophomore and junior year. And if you take it any time between that, you have a lot of time to like improve if you don't like your score, or just go in with that score and start looking into colleges early on. And another added advantage of taking the ACT early on, for example, you take the ACT in 9th grade. A lot of college courses, like CCP courses, which is a big thing nowadays, the CCP courses will accept any score above a 25. And basically, any Indian that takes it like in 6th grade is able to get such a basic score. So you shouldn't worry about taking it. It's better off taking it at an early time and use that to apply to CCP courses, where it will help boost your GPA as well. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Jay.